Hey guys! ARMY, Jungkook shippers, this amazing community that always feels everything a little deeper. I want you to really sit with this for a second, because what you're about to hear isn't just another soft fan story. It's the kind of moment that makes your chest feel tight, your heart feel warm, and your thoughts just pause. Imagine this not a concert, not a live stream, not a chaotic backstage clip, but a quiet, deeply personal moment where Jimin found himself sitting face-to-face with the people who know Jungkook better than anyone else in this world, his parents. No cameras, no pressure to perform, no expectations to be perfect, just raw, real presence. And guys, what happened in that moment? It didn't just make Jimin emotional, it broke something open inside him in the most beautiful way possible, and trust me, you're going to feel it too as we go deeper into this. So picture this scene clearly, okay? The atmosphere is calm, almost unusually calm for two people who live such loud, public lives. Jungkook brings Jimin into his home, not as a global superstar, not as the golden magne and his fellow member, but just as Jungkook and Jimin. There's something so different about that already, right? Because when you strip away the fame, what's left is who they truly are. Jimin walks in with that soft smile we all know, polite, respectful, but there's a hint of nervousness, because meeting someone's parents is never just casual. It always carries meaning, whether spoken or unspoken. And from the very first moment, Jungkook's parents don't create distance. They don't treat him like an outsider or someone who needs to prove himself. Instead, they welcome him with warmth that feels genuine, the kind that instantly makes you feel like you belong, even if you weren't sure you did before. The conversation starts light, almost comforting. They talk about simple things, small memories, little stories about Jungkook growing up, things that make Jimin laugh softly, the kind of laugh that isn't forced but real. You can almost see him relaxing, slowly letting his guard down, feeling safe enough to just exist in that space. But then, the energy begins to shift. Not in a negative way, not in a tense way, but in a deeper, more meaningful direction. Jungkook's parents begin to speak with intention, with a quiet seriousness that makes every word feel heavier, more important. They talk about life, about how difficult it is to stay true to yourself when the world constantly watches, judges, and expects so much from you. They talk about how rare it is to find someone who truly understands you, not just your strengths, but your fears, your struggles, your quiet moments when no one else is around. And then they begin to talk about Jungkook, not as an idol, not as the person millions of fans admire, but as their son. They share things that aren't always visible to the public, the pressure he carries, the expectations he silently holds on his shoulders, the moments when he feels overwhelmed but doesn't show it. And Jimin, he doesn't interrupt, he doesn't look away, he listens. Completely. Deeply. Like every word matters to him. Because it does. And you can feel that something inside him is starting to shift, something emotional, something he maybe didn't even expect to feel in that moment. And then comes the moment that changes everything. Jungkook's parents look at Jimin, not casually, not lightly, but with sincerity that's impossible to ignore. And they say something so simple, yet so powerful. Whoever stays by his side, please don't let him face everything alone. Guys, just let that sit with you for a second. Because that's not just advice. That's trust. That's vulnerability. That's a parent opening their heart and placing something incredibly precious into someone else's hands. And in that exact moment, Jimin breaks. Not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, deeply, emotionally. His eyes fill up, his expression softens, and before he can even stop it, the tears fall. And these aren't just tears of sadness. There's something much more complex. It's the feeling of being seen, of being trusted, of being accepted in a way that goes beyond words. It's the weight of responsibility mixed with gratitude, mixed with something even deeper that's hard to define. Jimin tries to hold it together. You know he does, but he can't because moments like this aren't something you can control. They hit you in a place that logic can't reach. And beside him, Jungkook notices immediately. Of course he does. But instead of making it awkward, instead of trying to brush it off, he simply stays there. Close. Present. Silent. But supportive in a way that says everything without saying anything at all. And that silence between them? It's not empty. It's full of understanding, of connection, of something that doesn't need to be explained because it's already there. And this is exactly why fans feel so deeply about moments like this. Because whether real or imagined, it captures something that feels true. The idea that their bond isn't just surface level, isn't just for show, but built on something real, something emotional, something human. Jimin eventually lets out a small smile through his tears, that soft, slightly shy smile we've all seen before, but his eyes still hold everything he's feeling. Gratitude, respect, and a quiet promise that maybe, just maybe, he understands what those words meant more than anyone expected. And Jungkook's parents? They don't overreact. They don't make the moment heavier than it already is. They simply smile gently, like they understand exactly what just happened. Because sometimes acceptance doesn't need to be loud. Sometimes it's just a few honest words spoken at the right time with the right intention. And that's enough to change everything. That's enough to stay with someone forever. And for fans watching this kind of story unfold, it's impossible not to feel something. Because at its core, this isn't just about Jimin crying or about Jungkook's parents giving advice. It's about connection. It's about trust. It's about the kind of bond that makes you feel like no matter how heavy the world gets, you don't have to carry it alone.